Ake Thompson sprinted along Seattle's Puget Sound, his sneakers pounding the trail as the morning mist clung to the air. The 35-year-old tech entrepreneur waved at a barista setting up a coffee cart, his easy grin earning a wave back. Everyone in the neighborhood knew Jake, not just for his startup that turned local coders into millionaires, but for his habit of helping strangers with groceries or mentoring kids at the community center. He was the guy who'd stop to fix a flat tire for a cyclist, no questions asked. But today his usual energy fell off, a faint unease tugging at him as he slowed to a walk, checking his phone. No new messages. Just a reminder, his flight to Miami for a tech conference was in 6 hours. Back at their Capitol Hill home, Jake's wife, Lauren, 32, sat cross-legged on the couch, her graphic design tablet idle beside her. She was texting furiously, her thumbs a blur, a half-smile flickering as she typed. Jake stepped inside, wiping sweat from his brow, and called out, "Hey, I'm heading out soon. Miami for the week." Lauren glanced up, her eyes flicking back to her phone almost instantly. "Okay, safe flight," she said, her voice flat, like she was reading a script. Jake paused, waiting for more, a question, a goodbye hug, anything. Nothing came. He noticed her thumb hover over a text, quickly locking the screen when she caught his gaze. "Everything okay?" he asked, keeping his tone light. "Yeah, just work stuff," she replied, too fast, tucking her phone under a cushion. Jake's got twisted, but he pushed it down. They'd been married 5 years, a power couple by all accounts. Lauren organized charity galas with him, her designs gracing billboards across Seattle. They were the pair friends envied, stable, successful, untouchable. Or so Jake thought. He grabbed his suitcase, already packed for the conference where he'd pitch his app to investors. "I'll call when I land," he said, lingering at the door. Lauren nodded, already back to her phone. No kiss, no wave. Just the hum of the city outside and a silence that felt heavier than usual. On the way to Seattle-Tacoma Airport, Jake's Uber driver chatted about the Seahawks, but Jake's mind was elsewhere. That locked screen, Lauren's quick deflection, it wasn't the first time. Last month, she'd stayed late at a client meeting, coming home smelling faintly of cologne. When he'd asked, she laughed it off, saying a colleague spilled coffee on her. He believed her, or wanted to. Now, stuck in traffic, he opened his phone and scrolled through their texts. Her replies had grown shorter over months, emojis replacing words. He shook his head, telling himself he was overthinking. Conferences were his escape. New faces, big ideas, a chance to focus. He'd deal with the weird vibe later. At the airport, Jake checked in, his mind half on his keynote speech. He was demoing an app that streamlined food donations to shelters, a project he'd poured his heart into. As he waited at the gate, his phone buzzed. An email, no sender name, just a blank address. The subject, "Look closer." His thumb hovered, then clicked. 3 photos loaded. Lauren at a dimly lit restaurant, laughing, her hand brushing a man's across the table. The man, sharp-jawed and in a tailored blazer, leaned in close. The timestamp was last night, when Lauren said she was at a design workshop. Jake's pulse quickened. He zoomed in, searching for clues, a logo on napkin, a street sign outside. Nothing clear. Another buzz. A 4th photo. Lauren and the man leaving the restaurant, her arm looped through his. Jake's breath caught. He forwarded the email to his assistant, Mia, with a quick note. "Find out who sent this." Discreetly. Mia, a former hacker turned operations guru, was the only person he trusted with something this raw. He boarded the plane, his mind racing. Was this a prank? A mistake? The man's face wasn't familiar, but Lauren's smile was the one she used to give Jake in their early days, full of spark. He buckled in, staring out the window as the plane climbed. Seattle shrank below, but the knot in his chest grew. In Miami, Jake checked into his hotel, the ocean view doing nothing to calm him. He called Lauren, keeping his voice steady. "Landed safe," he said. She answered, sounding distracted. "Good, glad you're there. Busy week ahead." Her tone was polite, detached. He mentioned the conference, the heat, the packed schedule. She mumbled agreements, then cut the call short. Clients calling. Talk later. Jake stared at his phone, the photos burning in his mind. He didn't sleep that night. Instead, he searched online for private investigators in Miami, landing on a firm with a rep for discretion. By morning, he'd hired one, texting Mia to coordinate. "I need answers," he wrote. Fast. Back in Seattle, Lauren was already moving. She drove to a sleek downtown restaurant, her car weaving through evening traffic. Inside, Ethan Pierce, 38, waited at a corner table. A real estate mogul with a penthouse view and a knack for closing deals, Ethan exuded confidence. He greeted Lauren with a sly grin, pouring her wine before she Saturday missed me, he teased. Lauren leaned in, her voice low. You know I did. Their conversation danced around work, her latest design pitch, his new high-rise project, but the subtext was electric. She mentioned Jake's trip, her tone dismissive. He's gone for a week. We're free. Ethan's smile faltered, but he nodded, clinking her glass. To freedom, then. As they laughed, a man at the bar sipped his drink, his phone angled just enough to catch their table. He sent a quick text. Got more. Sending tonight. Across the country, Jake's phone buzzed again. Another email, same blank sender. This time, a short video clip. Lauren and Ethan toasting, her hand lingering on his. Jake's jaw tightened. He forwarded it to the PI, adding, find out who he is. The conference was tomorrow, but his focus was fracturing. Lauren's betrayal was no longer a suspicion. It was evidence, piling up with every ping of his inbox. And Jake, the man who fixed problems for everyone else, was about to face the biggest one of his life. An anonymous video of Lauren laughing with another man lights up Jake's phone, each frame tightening the knot in his chest. He's 2,000 miles from Seattle, stuck in a Miami hotel, with a keynote speech hours away. As the evidence of his wife's betrayal piles up, Jake's forced to play a dangerous game. Keep his cool in public while unraveling her secrets in private. But what he discovers next will flip his world upside down. Jake's hotel room felt like a cage, the hum of the air conditioner drowning out the Miami waves outside. He replayed the latest video, Lauren toasting with a stranger, her fingers grazing his. The timestamp was fresh, last night, while he was mid-flight. He paced, his keynote slides untouched on his laptop. The tech conference was his chance to pitch his food donation app to investors, a project that could feed thousands. But now, every thought circled back to Lauren. He fired off a text to his PI. Carla, ID the man. They deeper. Carla, a former cop with a knack for digital trails, replied instantly. On it. Expect a report by noon. In Seattle, Lauren slipped out of the restaurant. Her arm looped through Ethan's as they stepped into the cool night air. She laughed at his story about a botched property deal, her voice carrying a thrill she hadn't felt in years. Ethan, smooth as ever, suggested a nightcap at his condo. Jake's gone till Sunday, she said, her eyes glinting with defiance. Why not? They drove to his high-rise, unaware of a gray sedan trailing them, its driver snapping photos with a long lens. Inside, Lauren poured whiskey, her movements deliberate, testing Ethan's reactions. What if I wanted more than this? She asked, her tone half teasing, half serious. Ethan's smile tightened. Let's not complicate things, he said, but his hesitation lingered in the air. Jake's phone buzzed at 11 a.m. Carla's report was concise but brutal. The man was Ethan Pierce, 38, a real estate developer with a wife and 2 kids in Bellevue. Call log showed Lauren and Ethan texting daily for 3 months, their meetups escalating from coffee to late-night hotel stays. Attached were receipts from a boutique hotel downtown, charged to Lauren's business card. Jake's stomach churned. He'd trusted her with their joint accounts, believing her client dinners were legit. Now, every expense felt like a lie. Carla added a note, found the email sender. It's a burner account, likely someone close to Ethan. Want me to trace further? Jake typed back, yes, and track their movements tonight. At the conference, Jake took the stage, his voice steady despite the storm inside. He demoed his app, showing how it connected restaurants to shelters in real time. The crowd applauded, investors nodding in approval. But as he spoke, his phone vibrated in his pocket, a new email. He ignored it, forcing a smile through the Q&A. Backstage, he opened it. Another photo, Lauren and Ethan entering Ethan's condo, time-stamped 1 a.m. The sender's message was short. She's playing you both. Jake's blood ran cold. Both? Was Ethan being set up too? He forwarded it to Carla, adding, find out who's behind this. Now, in Seattle, Lauren and Ethan sat on his balcony, the city skyline glittering below. She leaned close, her voice low. Jake's predictable. He'll never suspect. But you, could you walk away from your life? Ethan shifted, uneasy. My wife's already asking questions. We need to be careful. Lauren laughed, brushing it off. She won't find out. No one will. But Ethan's phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Check your email. He excused himself, his face paling as he opened a message mirroring the ones Jake received. Photos of him and Lauren, with a warning, your wife knows. Ethan's hand shook. He confronted Lauren, his voice sharp. Who else knows about us? She froze, her confidence cracking. No one, she lied, but her eyes darted to her phone. Jake, back in his hotel, got Carla's update. The burner account traced a co-worker of Ethan's, likely a disgruntled employee who'd seen them together. But the bigger bombshell was Lauren's financial trail. She'd siphoned $10,000 from their joint account into a separate one, opened last month. Jake's mind raced. Why? Was she planning to leave? Or was this about Ethan? He called his lawyer, Rachel, a shark who'd handled his startup's contracts. Pull our prenup, he said. If infidelity's proven, what's her cut? Rachel's reply was crisp. Nothing. You'd keep everything. Jake exhaled, a plan forming. He booked a red-eye flight back to Seattle, texting Carla, "Give me real-time updates on Lauren tonight." By midnight, Lauren was back at Ethan's, trying to smooth things over. "It's just a scare," she said, pouring him another drink. "We're fine." But Ethan was distant, checking his phone obsessively. His wife had texted, asking where he was. He lied, saying he was at a late meeting, but the guilt was creeping in. Lauren sensed his pullback and doubled down, her voice soft but calculated. "We can have it all, Ethan. Jake's money, your connections. Think about it." Ethan stared at her, seeing her for the first time, not a thrill but a risk. He stepped back, muttering, "I need to think." Lauren's smile faltered, but she covered it, grabbing her keys. "Call me tomorrow," she said, leaving him alone. Carla's next update hit Jake's phone as he boarded his flight. Lauren was spotted leaving Ethan's condo at 2 a.m., heading home. A new photo showed her checking her phone in her car, her expression tense. Jake leaned back in his seat, the plane's engines roaring. He wasn't just a betrayed husband anymore. He was a man with proof, a plan, and a ticking clock. Lauren thought she was in control, but Jake was about to rewrite the rules. As the plane lifted off, his phone buzzed one last time. A voice memo from the burner account. Lauren's voice clear, plotting with Ethan about securing her future. Jake's grip tightened. The game was on. Ake's red-eye flight lands in Seattle at dawn, his phone brimming with evidence of Lauren's affair. Photos, texts, and a damning voice memo. He's no longer the trusting husband. He's a man armed with truth and a plan. As he drives toward their Capitol Hill home, Lauren's still asleep, unaware her carefully spun web is about to unravel. But a new twist emerges, threatening to upend Jake's calculated confrontation. The clock's ticking, and the stakes just got higher. Jake's rental car sped through Seattle's pre-dawn streets, the city quiet except for the hum of early delivery trucks. His phone, wedged in the console, buzzed with a final update from Carla, his PI. Lauren was home, alone, last seen entering at 3 a.m. The voice memo from the anonymous sender looped in Jake's mind. Lauren's voice, cold and deliberate, telling Ethan, "Jake's clueless. We can take enough to start over." The words burned, but they also sharpened his focus. He'd spent the flight piecing together a strategy with Rachel, his lawyer. The prenup was ironclad. Proven infidelity meant Lauren would lose any claim to his assets. But Jake needed more than legal leverage. He needed to see her reaction, to know how deep her betrayal ran. At 6:15 a.m., Jake pulled into their driveway, his pulse steady but his hands tight on the wheel. The house was dark, the only sound the faint drip of a gutter from last night's rain. He unlocked the door quietly, slipping inside with his briefcase. Upstairs, Lauren slept, her phone charging on the nightstand, its screen lighting up with a new text from Ethan. "We need to stop. My wife's onto us." Jake saw it before Lauren stirred, his jaw clenching. He snapped a photo of the screen, adding it to his growing file. Then he sat in the living room, waiting, the briefcase open on the coffee table, filled with printed texts, photos, and hotel receipts. Lauren woke at 7:30, startled to see Jake downstairs, his expression unreadable. "You're back early," she said, forcing a smile as she descended the stairs, her voice betraying a flicker of panic. "Conference got canceled," Jake lied, his tone calm. "Thought I'd surprise you." He gestured to the briefcase. "Found some interesting stuff while I was gone. Take a look." Lauren's eyes darted to the papers, her fingers hesitating before flipping through them. Photos of her and Ethan at the restaurant, call logs, even a bank statement showing her secret account with $10,000 siphoned from their joint funds. Her face drained of color. "Jake, I can explain," she started, but he cut her off. "Don't. I heard you. Clueless, right?" He played the voice memo, her own words echoing. Jake's clueless. "We can take enough to start over." Lauren's knees buckled, and she sank onto the couch. "It wasn't like that," she stammered. "Ethan, he pushed me into it." Jake's laugh was sharp, humorless. "You opened a secret account. You planned this. Don't pin it on him." He leaned forward, his voice low. "I trusted you, Lauren. 5 years, and you turned our life into a scam." She tried to speak, but tears choked her words. Jake stood, sliding the briefcase shut. "My lawyer's already moving. The prenup's clear. You're out." He turned to leave, but Lauren grabbed his arm. "Wait, there's more you don't know." Jake paused, her desperation piquing his curiosity. "What?" he demanded. Lauren's voice shook as she spilled a new bombshell. Ethan wasn't just a fling. He'd been feeding her information about a real estate deal, a luxury condo project that could net millions. She'd invested their $10,000 in it, thinking it was a sure bet, a way to secure her future if she left Jake. But Ethan had lied about the deal's stability. The project was crumbling, and her money was gone. "I thought I was being smart," she whispered. "I didn't want to hurt you." Jake's eyes narrowed. "You didn't care about me. You cared about the payout." His phone buzzed. Another email from the anonymous sender. This time, a document. Ethan's email to a business partner, admitting the condo project was a front to lure investors like Lauren, skimming funds for himself. The sender's note read, "Check Ethan's accounts. You're not the only one he played." Jake's mind raced. Ethan wasn't just cheating with Lauren. He was running a con. Jake forwarded the email to Carla with a single instruction: dig into Ethan's finances. Now, he looked at Lauren, her eyes red, her composure shattered. "You're not the mastermind you thought," he said. "You're a mark." Lauren's phone lit up again, Ethan calling. She hesitated, then answered on speaker. Jake's gaze locked on her. Ethan's voice was frantic. "Lauren, my wife hired a PI. She's got everything, photos, texts. We're done." Lauren's voice cracked. "You used me, Ethan. That deal was a lie." Ethan hung up, leaving silence. Jake didn't flinch. "You both play games," he said, "and you both lost." He grabbed his briefcase and headed for the door, ignoring Lauren's pleas. "Rachel will contact you," he said, stepping outside. "You've got 2 days to pack." As Jake drove to his lawyer's office, Carla called. "Ethan's in deep," she said. "The condo deal's a sham. Multiple investors are out millions. His accounts show transfers to offshore banks. I've got names of other victims, including Lauren." Jake's grip tightened on the wheel. Ethan's betrayal wasn't just personal, it was criminal. He told Carla to send everything to Rachel and the authorities. "This ends now," he said. Back at the house, Lauren sat frozen, staring at the papers, her world collapsing. She thought she was in control, but now she was alone, exposed and broke. Jake, meanwhile, was already planning his next move, his anger forging into something colder, sharper, justice that Lauren's world crumbles as Jake walks out, armed with proof of her betrayal and Ethan's scam. She's left with a briefcase of evidence, a broken marriage, and a $10,000 loss she can't recover. As Jake pushes for legal justice, a new threat emerges from Ethan's collapsing empire, pulling Lauren deeper into the mess. With the clock ticking, the consequences of her choices close in, and a desperate move could change everything. Jake sped toward Rachel's law office in downtown Seattle, the morning sun glinting off the skyline. His phone buzzed relentlessly. Carla, his PI, with another update. Ethan's condo scam had defrauded a dozen investors, and the authorities were now involved. Jake's evidence, including the anonymous emails and Lauren's voice memo, had been handed to the police, who were building a case against Ethan. "He's panicking," Carla said. "Rumor is he's planning to skip town." Jake's jaw tightened. "Keep tabs on him," he instructed, "and check on Lauren's movements." He wasn't just protecting himself now. He was ensuring Ethan faced the fallout. Back at the Capitol Hill house, Lauren sat on the couch, the briefcase of evidence still open. Her hands shook as she scrolled through texts from Ethan. His last message occurred, "It's over. Don't contact me." She tried calling, but it went straight to voicemail. Her $10,000, siphoned from their joint account, was gone, sunk into Ethan's fake deal. She thought it was her ticket to freedom, a way to leave Jake with a safety net. Now, she had nothing, no money, no marriage, no allies. Her phone pinged with an email from Rachel. Vacate the premises by tomorrow. Legal proceedings initiated. Lauren's breath hitched. The prenup's infidelity clause left her with zero claim to Jake's wealth. She stood, pacing, her mind racing for a way out. Her socialite friends had already started ghosting her. Texts unanswered, invitations canceled. Word of her affair was spreading, whispers in Seattle's tight-knit elite circles. Desperate, she dialed her old friend Mia, Jake's assistant, hoping to plead her case. "Mia, you know me. Talk to Jake. Tell him I didn't mean for this." Mia's voice was cold. "You made your choices, Lauren. He trusted you. We all did." The line went dead. Lauren sank to the floor, the weight of her isolation crushing her. But a flicker of defiance sparked. She wasn't done yet. Meanwhile, Jake met Rachel at her office, handing over the latest evidence. Ethan's scam could implicate Lauren, Rachel warned. She invested in a fraudulent deal. The police might question her. Jake nodded, unfazed. She dug her own hole. Let her face it. Rachel outlined the divorce timeline. With the prenup and proof of infidelity, Lauren would walk away with nothing. Jake felt no satisfaction, only resolve. He instructed Rachel to liquidate their assets, including the house, and donate half to his app's charity partners. "I'm done with this life," he said. "I want a clean break." Across town, Lauren drove to Ethan's condo, her last shot at answers. She banged on his door, but no one answered. A neighbor, eyeing her suspiciously, said Ethan had left an hour ago with a packed bag. Lauren's panic surged. She checked her phone. News alerts about Ethan's scam were breaking online, naming him as the prime suspect in a multi-million-dollar fraud. Her name wasn't mentioned, but the fear of exposure gnawed at her. She called Ethan again, leaving a voicemail. "You lied to me. If I go down, you're coming with me." Her voice cracked, betraying her unraveling control. Carla's next call to Jake was urgent. "Ethan's at Seattle-Tacoma, booked on a flight to Mexico City. Cops are moving to intercept, but there's more." Lauren's car was spotted near his condo. "She's chasing him." Jake's mind spun. Lauren wasn't just a victim of Ethan's con. She was desperate enough to confront him, risking everything. He told Carla, "Alert the police. If she's with him, she's complicit." He hung up, driving toward the airport himself, unsure why but compelled to see this through. The man who'd built a life on trust was now fueled by a need for closure. At Seattle-Tacoma, Lauren spotted Ethan rushing through the terminal, his phone pressed to his ear. She cut through the crowd, grabbing his arm. "You set me up," she hissed. Ethan yanked free, his eyes wild. "You want it in, Lauren. Don't play innocent." He revealed the truth. He'd used her investment to cover his tracks, funneling it to an offshore account. "You're nothing to me," he spat, turning to board. Before Lauren could respond, two plainclothes officers approached, badges flashing. "Ethan Pierce, you're under arrest for fraud." Lauren froze, as eyes turned to her. An officer asked, "Ma'am, are you involved?" She stammered, "No, I just know him." They let her go, but the warning was clear. She was on their radar. Jake arrived at the airport just as Ethan was cuffed and led away. He saw Lauren standing alone, her face pale, clutching her phone. Their eyes met briefly, but she looked away, shame replacing her usual defiance. Jake didn't approach. Instead, he texted Carla, "It's done. Let the law handle them." He walked to his gate, boarding a flight to Portland for a meeting with new investors. The weight of betrayal lingered, but so did a flicker of freedom. Lauren, meanwhile, drove back to the house, packing her belongings in a daze. Her elegant life was gone. Friends, status, security. She played for control and lost it all. As she loaded her car, a final text from Rachel arrived. "Move out by noon. No extensions." The door to her old life slammed shut. Lauren's life lies in ruins. Kicked out of her home, abandoned by her lover, and entangled in Ethan's fraud scandal. Jake, now free from their toxic marriage, rebuilds with purpose, but a chance encounter at the airport forces one final reckoning. As the consequences of betrayal unfold, a new twist tests both their resolves. Will justice close the chapter, or will desperation spark one last clash? Jake stepped off a plane in Seattle-Tacoma Airport, his backpack slung over one shoulder, a faint smile breaking through the weight of the past year. At 36, he'd traded his tech empire for a simpler life, traveling to pitch his food donation app to global nonprofits. The divorce was finalized months ago, the prenup stripping Lauren of any claim to his wealth. He'd sold their Capitol Hill house, donating half the proceeds to hunger relief, and moved into a modest condo, his days now filled with purpose over profit. But as he headed to his gate for a flight to Lisbon, a familiar figure caught his eye. Lauren, behind a coffee kiosk counter, her apron stained, her hands busy with an espresso machine. Lauren's fall had been swift. After Ethan's arrest for fraud, she'd been questioned by police, her $10,000 investment in a sham condo deal marking her as a potential accomplice. Cleared of charges but not suspicion, she'd lost her design clients, her social circle, and her home. Now 33, she lived in a shared apartment, working shifts at the airport to pay for night classes in business administration. Her old charm was gone, replaced by a quiet focus. Spotting Jake, she froze, then waved hesitantly, her eyes carrying a mix of shame and resolve. Jake approached, his curiosity outweighing his instinct to walk away. "Lauren," he said, his voice neutral. She wiped her hands, stepping out from the counter. "Didn't expect to see you," she said, her tone softer than he remembered. "I heard you're doing big things with your app." Jake nodded, keeping his guard up. "It's helping people. That's what matters." Lauren's gaze dropped, then met his. "I owe you an apology. What I did, Ethan, the lies, it was wrong. I thought I was in control, but I was just lost." Her words were direct, no excuses. Jake studied her, seeing not the scheming wife, but a woman stripped bare by her choices. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed, a news alert. Ethan's trial had concluded. Guilty on multiple counts of fraud, sentenced to 7 years. The article mentioned Lauren as a cooperating witness. Her testimony about the $10,000 helping seal his conviction. Jake's eyes narrowed. "You turned on him," he said, not a question. Lauren nodded. "I had to. He used me, but I wasn't innocent. Testifying was my way of owning it." She paused, then added, "I saw your donation to the shelters. It's more than I ever did with my galas." Jake felt a pang, not forgiveness, but acknowledgement of her effort to change. Their conversation was cut short by a commotion nearby. A man, disheveled and shouting, pushed through the terminal crowd. It was Ethan, out on bail pending an appeal, his face twisted with rage. "Lauren," he yelled, spotting her. "You sold me out." Travelers backed away as he stormed closer, his finger jabbing the air. Jake stepped between them, his voice calm but firm. "Back off, Ethan. It's over." Ethan's eyes darted to Jake, then Lauren. "You both ruined me," he spat. Lauren, trembling but steady, said, "You ruined yourself. You lied to everyone." Security guards closed in, restraining Ethan as he shouted threats, his voice fading as they led him away. Jake turned to Lauren, who was shaking but composed. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, exhaling. "I'm trying to be. This job, school, it's a start." Jake felt the weight of their shared past lift slightly. "Keep going," he said simply, then added, "I'm rooting for you to figure out." He picked up his backpack, ready to head to his gate, but Lauren stopped him. "Jake, one more thing. I found this in my things." She handed him a small flash drive. "It's the original designs I made for your app, before everything. Use them if you want." Jake took it, surprised. The designs were her best work, crafted in their early days together. He nodded, a silent thank you. As Jake walked to his gate, the flash drive in his pocket felt like a relic of a life he'd left behind. He boarded his flight, the Lisbon skyline already in his mind. Lauren returned to her kiosk, pouring coffee with a steadier hand. Ethan's outburst had shaken her, but it also cemented her resolve. She'd testified, faced her mistakes, and was clawing her way back. The airport hummed around them, indifferent to their stories. Jake's app would soon launch globally, feeding thousands, while Lauren's classes promised a new path. Their brief encounter closed a chapter, not with drama, but with quiet accountability. The plane's engines roared, and Jake leaned back, the flash drive a reminder that even broken things could yield something good. Lauren, wiping down the counter, caught her reflection in the espresso machine, older, humbler, but moving forward. Justice had been served, not with vengeance, but with truth, leaving both free to rebuild, apart but unburdened.